what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the FPF First and Goal podcast. I'm Brent Bach, and I'm joined by Quasi and Guatemala. So, Calling the Audible is no more. We thank them for their contributions. Guys, obviously, set up with Peas and Eagle, Rob, Mo, Iggy. I don't know. I could be missing some other guys, but tons of people came on to the show, myself included. I was on as a guest a couple of times. But it's a new era. It's a new podcast here for Flag Plus Football. So we hope you enjoy it. Like I said, my name is Brent. I know a lot of you guys. Of course, some of you guys I don't know. I'm an FPF veteran, scorekeeper, writer, now podcast host. Tackle background, and I love ball, so I'm all about football. So let's do it, Quasi. So your list of accomplishments are bigger than mine. I have 2 championships. You have 8. You're a 7-time All-Star, I believe.
Yeah,
7-time All-Star. Yeah.
I haven't checked in a while, but yeah, around those lines.
Okay. You're currently playing. So you're playing what? Div 1, Div 2.
Yeah, I played Div 1, Div 2, Co-Ed 1, and 5v5 competitive.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I'm around. I also score keep too, so
Yep.
do all that.
Okay, so needless to say, we have you covered for FPF. So between Quasi and I think we're gonna have the boat rocket, and let's do our thing. Okay, so what we want to do with this podcast is obviously again, if FPF is growing to the biggest size it's ever been, we're not going to cover every single team. It's unless you want like a 5-hour podcast. Pretty sure you guys don't want that, and I know that we don't either. But what we want to try and do is we're going to hit every division. So from Division 6B all the way to Division 1. We want to hit the 5v5. We want to hit the ladies divisions. We want to hit the co-ed divisions. So it's going to be a lot of flag football talk, and we're going to try and have you covered. If there's stuff that we do miss out on, we apologize. Feel free to hit us up either on the Facebook group or our emails personally or whatever, and let us know if there's something that you guys want to see that we haven't covered. Again, this is episode 1, so it's kind of fluid right now. So again, we're going to kind of try and hit it out the park on the first shot. We might not be able to, but we're going to try and aim for a double or a triple, or for maybe a touchdown, but not a 2-point conversion. We'll see what goes on. All right. So let's jump in right away. So Division 6B. So let's start at the bottom for the men's division. So yeah, we looking at the standings right now. On top, we got Balls Deep 4-0. Emperor Retraite. I think I pronounced that right. It's Retired Emperors, if I'm not mistaken. If you want the English translation, they're at 4-0, and you got Passing TDs and Spartans both at 3-1. Looking at the bottom of the standings right now, you have. Yeah, the big assets at 0-3, Cougars at 0-2, and then Nard Dogs at 0-1. So one thing crazy I noticed when I was looking at Division 6B, right? There's only 3 teams that don't have a win. So there's 18 teams in total, 12 make the dance, 12 make the playoffs. So out of those 18 teams, only 3 don't have a win. So that's pretty promising. I think it speaks to the parity so far in Division 6B.
All right, what did you say?
So,
yeah, I didn't hear the last thing you said. Sorry.
Okay, so no worries. Okay. So I'm like, there's 18 teams that make the playoffs, right? There's 12 teams out of the 18 make the playoffs. Yeah. Out of all 18 teams in Division 6B, there's only 3 who don't have a win right now. So I think that speaks to the parity of 6B.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right for that. So there's 3 teams that are 0-3, 0-2, 0-1. The Nard Dogs only played 1 game, so I mean it's easy turnaround for them. Cougars 0-2, Big Assets 0-3. I mean, it's going to be harder for them, especially only scoring 30 points and allowing 60. That's something you do not want. But as again, 12 teams do make it, and you have the bottom. You have 10, 11, and 12 that are 1-2. So technically, if Nard Dogs could get a win there, they pretty much jump up to the top 10 to 12.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so looking at it, I mean, and 6B, we were talking, you and I, like heading into this Division 6B and 6A even. Like those are obviously it's the lowest division for the men's. Those are really the teaching divisions, right? You have a lot of guys and sometimes ladies who come in a sub that might not necessarily have a lot of experience, not just in FPF, but in flag football or football in general, right? You have a lot of players who are coming in, maybe they play soccer, they play hockey, they play basketball, baseball, what have you. or even rugby. So a lot of those players are new to the sport. So A, welcome, and B, this is a division where you kind of want to get out the king. So you want to kind of learn what to do, what offense works for you, what defense works for you, what it takes to be a quarterback in FPF. Because again, this is the biggest and best flag football division, and not just North America, but I would say even the world, right? A lot of the top competition comes here to play. So this is the time you want to use in these lower divisions, especially 6B, to really figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So a lot of new teams that you were saying, it's kind of like the startup. Like even, but what's also kind of crazy as well is that sometimes you get these teams that do come into 6B or 6A, and they are like ex not ex university players and ex sometimes you'll see like a CFL player too and this
Yeah,
in one of
yeah,
these
yeah.
divisions with this. It's crazy, but I mean, like, he joins a bunch of friends, and that's how it is. But it is a learning process that you do learn, and that's the reason why you do 6B, and you get your footing, in this league. It's something where, yeah, you have some teams that are amazing, that have amazing start, like Balls Deep.
Yeah.
Their team, if you look at it, they're just a bunch of new guys. I don't recognize anyone on their team. They're all 55, so they're brand new to the league. So sometimes you get a lot of teams like that where you don't even know who these guys are. But as again, like, it's a starting point into the league. And then you have also, like, you get a team like Bloodline, that they've been in the league for quite a no, I think maybe 2 years. I think you've seen them now. So they're still trying to get their footing into the league, but it's their second. It's like, I believe it's their second season in
Right,
FPF.
right.
So you see it's you see a lot of things in the 6B and 6A.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what. There's a player right now I'm looking at. Right, I had a chance to score keep the game a few weeks ago again. The Emperors, they're retired Emperors. Will Langley. So he's playing with another buddy. He's a former. Well, he just finished playing at McGill. Jonathan Montour plays little receiver. He's a D lineman at McGill. I think right now he still has another year of eligibility left. But Will Langley, so he's playing up in Division One. Division One, Division Two. So Division Two, my Diamond Bougie. But it's his first year in FPF, right? So he's playing also in Division 6B with a couple of buddies. I had a chance to see the team. They're super athletic. They have a lot of fun. So it's interesting. And like, so Will Langley is one of those guys, right? Like, I know we talked about it earlier. Like, even yourself, you played in Division 6, right? So I mean, and there's a lot of
Yeah,
players who are in the higher top of the food chain, if you will, in FPF got to start in Division 6.
yeah. So that's exactly what I was saying. You get your footing in. You kind of see where you are, and also then you start going down divisions depending on your team as well too, right?
Yeah,
So you see teams that start at 6A, 6B, and then all of a sudden they'll go down to Division 4. It all depends, but you have to start somewhere, right?
exactly,
So,
exactly.
getting into Division 6B, right? So we have a lot of good teams. It seems like, because you have Balls Deep that are 4-0, and then you have Emperors that are 4-0 too, and then you have past TDs that are 3-1, and then Spartans are in 3-1, and then it starts going down to Panthers that are 2-1, and Overachievers are 2-1,
Yeah,
and then it goes down from there. But then you have the bottom where you have pretty much the 13 to 18, where it's either you have no wins or you have one win, but
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
and I believe none of them have a positive PA. So
No, you're right. Yeah,
they're
they all have more points scored against than points
yeah,
scored. You're right.
yeah, exactly, for the bottom third, well, the 13 to 18 teams. What I wanted to ask you is, like, do you feel like it's early on, right? Some of these teams, but you have some teams that have played 4 games already. Do you
Yeah,
see, so Minutemen, Bet the Over, and Bloodline have all played 4 games.
yeah.
Do you see any of these teams going up in on seeding, like
In the
making it to
standings,
the
yeah.
standings?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I'm gonna go bet the over. I mean, they're appropriately okay, if I can say that properly, appropriately named bet the over. I mean, okay, so they have 71 points scored. They've let in 103, which is a little troublesome. But I mean, 71. There's only I'm looking at it right now. There's one, two, three, four, five. I want to say I think only 6 teams that have scored more than them. No, hold on, I could be wrong. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8. Yeah, it's about like 8 teams that score more points than them. So 8 teams out of 18. That's not bad. So I'm gonna go with bet the overs. The team they've proven they can score points. They have trouble stopping points as well, but they've proven they can score, and that's key in flag football. So I'm gonna pick that team as I think a team is gonna make that second half push towards the postseason.
Okay, I also see that they're also all new players too. They all have 55 ratings. I believe it's their
Yeah.
first year for all of them. So for the top three teams that we see, so
Mm.
you have Balls Deep. I'm just popping and opening up again. So you have
Yeah.
ball. You have so the top three teams. Do you see any of them being false kings? Like they don't. They're just their schedule is very lucky, and they're lucky to have the record they have. Or do you think they're gonna start? They're gonna stay at the top three. Let's just say. Or is
I
anyone?
mean, which is a good question. I mean, looking at it right now, it's a little hard to say because it's early in the season. But I mean, you look at a team like Ball Deep. I mean, they laid a beat down on Towers FT. They just got past the Panthers though. So the Panthers again, looking at the standings, the Panthers are only 4 points behind them. Right, the Panthers are in fifth. Balls Deep again, as you said, is tied for first. They knocked off Balls Deep knocked off the Panthers 26-20. So I mean, I can't say they're false kings. They got a tough victory against a tough team that hung in there. If I'm gonna pick a team though, looking at it right now that I think might fall off, I want to say possibly passing TDs, and I only say that because sorry, not sorry. It could be the Spartans actually. Sorry, the Spartans in 4 games they've given up 88 points already. Right, that's a lot of points. That's more than 20 points a game. Doesn't seem like much, but again, you're giving up a lot of points and defense wins championships, and I think you could attest to that. I won 2 championships. You won a couple more than I have. But I can tell you what, you can score all the points you want, but if you can't stop anybody, that's going to be troublesome. And looking at them right now, right, like the Spartans, they gave up 40 to over underachievers. They had a nice showdown against Cafe 67. They only let in 12 points, but then they let in another 20, and they let in 30 to the pardon me, let in 16 actually, to say pardon me, to
Yeah.
the Impacts. I mean, not not a ton of points the last few weeks, but again, you want to make sure you keep those points against at a low. If I'm going to pick one team again to answer your question, I'm going to say maybe it's that team of the Spartans that might be falling off in the second half of the season.
Okay. All right. They did have an impressive win versus the Impact Monday. It's pretty good for them, 30-16.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Impact
yeah.
going to the game as 2-1, so I mean it's a big win for them. But again, as you said, defense does win championships. So when you do start allowing around 3 to 4 touchdowns per game, it can get you a couple losses, and sometimes that's all it takes from going to the top and ending up at the bottom.
But that's exactly it. I mean, even look at the rest of the standings. Like Cafe 67, they've let in 67 points in 3 games. There's another team, Towers FT. I know we talked about them a bit last week in our practice run. They played 3 games. They've let in 90 points. So they're giving up 30 points a game. I'm not the greatest in math, but I can tell you that's not great defensively. So it's gonna be
Oh,
interesting. Again, it's early in the season, right? So things are fluid.
yeah. Other good question. So big assets are 0-3. Do you
Right.
see them winning a game this season?
It's tough. I mean, 0-3, right? I mean, they're giving up 20 points a game. So I mean, defensively, they're not bad. So, I mean,
No.
let's look at the schedule right here, right? Big assets again. You said 0-3. They're coming off of so they lost 13-12 to the Emperors, Retrete, or whatever however you pronounce it, retired Emperors. Again, that's the team we talked about. Second place, well, tied for first with a 4-0 record.
Yeah.
Big assets lost by 1 point. So I mean, you got to love the fact that they're able to hang in tough. They have a veteran on the team right now, Justin Salonga, right, with a little bit of experience. 70 on defense, 71 on defense, 72. Pardon me, 72 on defense, 71 on offense. Just looking at them, they struggle to score. They haven't scored more than 2 touchdowns a game. So I mean, I want to say yes. I think they can make that push, but again, you got to score more than 2 touchdowns a game. But I want to give them the benefit of the doubt because their defense has been nice. They gave up 27 points to over underachievers in week 3. That's the highest they've given up so far this season. They gave up 13 again in their loss this past week, and they gave up 20 to bet the overs. So I mean, that's pretty solid defense. You just have to get their offense to kind of meet them somewhere in the middle
Yeah,
if you want to
exactly.
progress.
But do you think right now they're averaging 20 points per game allowed, and they're only scoring
Yeah,
10 points. So
yeah.
I don't know about you, but I never seen someone win a game by only scoring 10 points. That's why I was
I hear
curious.
you. I hear you. I hear you. I'm
Curious.
just thinking like again, from the standpoint of defense wins championships, I think if they can maintain what they're doing defensively, I think if anything they have to get better offensively. Like I think again, this is a team that's probably working on the chemistry right now, and I'm looking at their stats right here. Right, the quarterback play is from what actually from Justin Salanga. So Salanga, pardon me, 2 TDs, 4 INTs, and Matthew Newell 1 TD, 3 INTs. So obviously they've combined two quarterbacks have combined for 3 TD passes and 7 picks. So you cut down on the turnovers, not even all the way. If you cut down on the turnovers even 1 to 2 a game, I think to be able to hang tough and get more possessions and hopefully put some more points on the board.
Understandable. And one other last question for you for 6B. So you have the Emperors and Balls Deep both at 4-0. Out of the two, who do you think goes further without losing any games? Do you think one of them goes in and go 10-0, or they both gonna go 10? Oh, I'm not sure if they even play versus each other. I should have checked that.
Looking
But
at it right here, I can tell you right here. So I have the schedule right now. They do not play.
they do
Sorry.
not play versus each other. So do
Yeah,
you think
they don't.
we can have two teams that are 10-0 this year?
No, I don't. I don't think they're going undefeated. That the undefeated thing. I mean, listen, it's an impressive accomplishment as predominantly a rookie team for both those squads. It takes a lot to go 10-0. I don't think they're going to be able to do that. Do I think they're going to maintain their records as the top seeds in this division? I think so, yes, but I don't think they're going to finish 10-0.
Okay, because they both had, as I said, they both played 4 games. They both allow 44 points per
Yeah,
game in total. So they
total.
basically
Yeah,
allow 11 points per game. And they won as I think Emperors scored about 111 and Balls Deep has scored 130. So they're
yeah.
averaging about 25 for one, and then the other team is about like 35 or yeah 35
Okay,
something
so let me ask you then. Okay, I won't go with the undefeated question because you just asked me that. At the end of the year, who do you think is going to win this division?
Well, Balls Deep looks good. uh, on paper, if someone showed me the stats, I don't know any of the players, but they look good. They've won their four games, 40-6, 26-0, 38-18, and then
Yep,
26-20 versus the Panthers. So I mean, other than the Panthers with that are 2-1, they actually have a
yep,
really nice uniform. Other than the Panthers, they've blown out the rest of the team. And the Panthers also have pretty impressive wins, 38-18, 22-8, and then they lost 26-20 to Balls Deep. So it kind of shows that Panthers are pretty good as well. So I would assume Balls Deep has the greatest chance to go 10-0 this season, especially their schedule is it's it's winnable games. It seems like they play the two teams I think will probably give them a run for their money would be Spartans
hmm
and I believe bet the over would also give them no, not bet the over, overachievers. I think those
okay,
are the two
okay.
teams that might run
Yeah,
them, give
I'll run
them
their
a
two
run
picks.
for the money. But other than that, I think they're gonna blow the rest of the teams out.
Okay, I got a little advice for the Panthers. What they need to do right now, after they finish watching the pod, is reach out to Joy Morgaze. I hope I'm pronouncing that, but four-time All-Star, diehard Panthers fan, big man. He works for FPF as well. I'm sure you've seen him. He plays in Division Three, a couple other
Yeah.
divisions. Diehard Panthers fan. Get him on there. Solid tight end too. Solid tight end. Get the big man in the end zone there. He can get those jump balls for you. He's a diehard Panthers fan, so you have to have him on the team. So Panthers, reach out to Joe. He's a good dude. Sign him up.
All right. So
All right,
let's move on to Division 6A.
6A. Yep.
Yeah. They also have 18 teams in the division. Out of the 18 teams, six don't make playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's pretty much you kind of see the same pattern in Division 6B and 6A. Right now in 6A, you have the top. Let's say you're going top five teams. You have 4-0, Classics at 3-1, Gold Rush at 3-1,
Yep.
Alive Jack Boys at 3-1, and then VDB Crescent at 3-1. So you have like those are the top. Those are the top teams. They're positive for their points for. And then at the bottom, you have the same kind of pattern where you have teams that are 0-4, 0-4, 0-2, 0-1, and then 1-2, 1-2. So you kind of the patterns are kind of the same. You have two teams that haven't won a game this year, and then you have about yeah, two teams that are 0-4 that haven't won any games anymore, and then you have a team that's 0-2 that has won a game in a year, and then you have the 1-2 and the 1-2 that's kind of looking in. If they end up winning a game, they could get into the green, but for right now they're in the red and they're outside the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm looking at it right here actually. So I had a chance to watch Red Zone Buzz. They were playing VDB Crescent. I score kept their game actually Monday in Saint Laurent. That is an athletic team. Red Zone Buzz. They have a lot of long guys who are long, guys with some speed. It's nice to see them toss it about their quarterback. So I had seen their quarterback. So it was Anthony Kautsis. I had recognized him. I saw him on the field. They were warming up, and I said, "This guy looks familiar." That's the case for a lot of people in FPF. It's the case for a lot of females, a lot of guys in FPF. I've been around a long time. Like, yeah, that guy looks familiar. That girl looks familiar, whatever. Sometimes I think nothing of it. So I went up and I talked to him after the game. And he's like, yeah, I played for Orange Crush. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he's like, yeah, I used to play for Team Ethnic, and he played for a team called Mean Girls. And I tell you, this guy, he was at quarterback. He's not the tallest guy in the world. I mean, neither are you, neither am I. So I want to say this guy's maybe about 5'8", maybe 5'9", but it was like Lamar Jackson out there, man. He was running and running and like cutting on a dime. He ran for I think at least 2 40-yard touchdowns. He was just slicing and dicing people when he didn't have to pass often, but when he did, he was accurate with the ball. It's the type of guy that I believe this is his first extended time. No, actually, I'm wrong. In his first season in 2020 with Mean Girls, he played quarterback, but it's been a while since then. So he came
Yeah,
back and he played last spring,
2000.
but he didn't play quarterback.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
2000 and Mean Girls in
yeah,
2020 actually. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So he played receiver in 2024, but this is his first time playing quarterback again, and he looked nice. This is a team again. They beat up on a team. VDB Crescent. It wasn't the greatest. It had some athletes, but they weren't that great. Really bad at tackling, to be honest with you. But whatever, that happens. That's a team I'm looking for that can make that. Maybe that could be a dark horse to make a run here for Division 6A. Looking at it as well, there's a lot of teams. I rolled for Division 6 last season, so there's a lot of teams I recognize on here, like the McGill swim team, the Chamonix Chodes. The very good football team. This division I like a lot because it has like the most interesting names. Like there's the '90s classics. Again, you guys have to be listening to some hip hop or some R&B if you're calling yourself '90s classics, or maybe if you're talking about TV shows. God knows. Angry Birds. I mean, that's not that original, but Scumbags. Yeah, very good football team. TD Brothers. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like that. I like
yeah,
some of the names. I like the
yeah.
creativity.
Sometimes you see some strange names as well, but it's
Yeah.
always nice to see. Me, it's the uniforms. I like to see, and sometimes when they have names and they have certain
Right.
uniforms,
Right.
it's also that kind of relate to their names. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. As we're looking on, see, there's as we said, there's 18 teams. So right now you have the bottom six teams right now. So you have Angry Birds, Bum City, TD
Yep.
Brodies, the Creamsicles, Vengeance, and Unseen. They're pretty much well, Unseen and Vengeance are 0-4. Do you
Yep.
see any of those? Because there's, to be honest, with you one more game and they're already halfway done the season.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Exactly.
even though the good thing about it is that Mean Machine and a very good actually just Mean Machine, because Mean Machine is 1-2. So technically, if they do get a win, they do get a higher chance to get it. They do get a higher chance to make playoffs. It's a big jump there, but it's a start. Do you see any of these two teams at the bottom for Vengeance and Unseen that do they still have a chance to make playoffs, or their season's pretty much done right now?
So I mean, looking at it right now, so a couple guys I know on Vengeance and John Sebastian Rossi, Matt Chadwick, a good buddy of mine. Obviously, they used to play with Peas on his team. Also, sports. They have a lot of veteran experience on that team. I'm a little surprised that they're struggling so much. I mean, right now, yeah, they've scored 30 points. They've led it in 122, which is second worst in the division. Coming in last in points allowed is Unseen. They led in like 135, which is yeah, I've seen them play as well. That's another team with a lot of athletes, a lot of guys who can make some plays. Talking about Unseen here. They have a receiver, Kevin Ogot, I believe his name is. Just double checking it right here. Who I score kept the game. I want to say 2 Mondays ago, and he was just catching everything thrown in his direction. and he looked like a stud. One of those again guys who are playing for a bunch of buddies. Yeah, this Kevin Good. Guys who are playing for a bunch of buddies in a lower division when they should probably be in Division 3, Division 2,
Mhm.
or maybe even like a fifth or sixth receiver in a Division 1 team, perhaps. The quarterback play for that team is Patrick Lapierre. He's a guy like he's 7 TDs, 8 INTs. He's trying his best. I've seen him play. He's not a scrub, but he struggles he struggles throwing in tight windows, which he tries to do a little too much. His best thing is throwing the ball up and letting his receivers run after to make a play. Like he loves to air it out. It's just he struggles kind of in the intermediate game, which, as you know, you need to throw the ball. You need to hit some of those easy passes over the middle of the field, especially in the intermediate part of the field, if you want to have a lot of success. And he kind of struggles to do that right now. Maybe in the second half of the season he gets better. But to answer your question, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll actually with Unseen between those two teams, between Vengeance. Again, Vengeance has a lot of experience, guys with even championship experience on their team. But I'm gonna say the quarterback play has struggled so far. I think both quarterbacks for the team have combined for like 4 TDs and over 10 INTs. Whereas Unseen, they don't have the interception. I mean, they do have kind of an interception problem right now. Their main
Yeah, they
guy
have
again left here with
10 in
8.
total. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 in total. Yeah, one of the receivers is throwing a couple of passes. I like their chances more just because their offense, they've scored, besides getting shut out week 1, they've scored 25 points, 25 points, and then they lost to Bum City 19-12. So I mean, it's not great in terms of only scoring 2 touchdowns, but when you do look at the standings, they lost to a Bum City team who actually they're on the outside of the playoffs looking in as well. So you have to imagine that's probably one of those 50-50 games that if you play the game, maybe Unseen gets the W. But anyways, to answer your question, I want to go with Unseen just because their offense, they've scored 62 points in 4 games versus Vengeance, who scored 30. So if
Okay.
Vengeance has scored less than 10 points a game, you're not going anywhere with an offense like that.
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say. I was like, they played 4 games and they've only scored 30. That means they're averaging 7.5 points a game, which is pretty
Exactly.
much
Exactly.
it's a touchdown and a 2 point
2 point
conversion.
conversion. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
And I don't have the stat in front of me, but I don't think they've gotten too many 2 point conversions either this year. So yeah. And
well,
again,
okay.
second half of the season. Second half of the season, things could turn around. Don't quit. Just keep working at it. Maybe good things will happen. We'll have to see. Let me ask you. So looking at 6A, right? So there's a lot of teams. We said the only undefeated team is Chamonix Chulch, right? 4-0 record. There's a lot of teams. There's one, two, three, four, five, 6 teams, 7 teams. Sorry, with 1 win. Oh, sorry, with 1 loss. So again, like we said for 6B, there's a lot of parity in 6A. Who do you think one of those middle of the pack teams could be that can maybe come out and surprise us in the second half of the season?
Oh, that's a good question. As I said, I don't really know 6A as much as I would like to. A lot of divisions. Um, but if I'm looking at it right now, I would go with. Wait, let me just see something over here. Angry Birds. I would go with LVL Jack Boys,
Okay.
and the reason
Okay.
why. So 1 second, let me just get my good reasoning. So the reason why I would go with them because one, they look like they're a bunch of athletes. I would assume
Mhm.
that most of them, some of them did play football. The quarterback right now, he's completed half his passes, which is not he's 50%, which is not too bad. He's thrown 15
Yeah.
touchdowns and he's thrown 5 interceptions. He's gotten sacked 7 times, so it's not the best, but also it's not too bad. And they've won they've won 3 games by over well, they won 41-6, 24-8, and then 19-8 as 6. They lost versus Angry Birds 39-38. So 1 point game, as we said before, like that could have won if let's say they play Angry Birds again, maybe they could have won 39-38. That's probably
Right.
a bad convert, a bad interception, anything could change. So this team could technically be 4-0 going into halfway through the season. So I would give it to them if I had to pick a team.
Okay. So you know what? So I'm looking at the schedule right now. LVL Jap Boys, they're playing Bum City this coming Monday at down at Papillon, so that should be a good game. I'm looking also some. I'm going to Laval right after we're done here to score keep, and I'm gonna have TD Brothers against Team V. So Team V is actually gonna be my choice for a team that can make that second half run. I had a chance to watch one of their games. Tim Horner, I know we talked about him last week. Tim Horner is one of those guys. playing with friends in a lower division. This guy's a stud. This guy should be at least Division 3 or Division 2. Catches everything, both sides of the ball. Anytime the ball comes in his direction, if he's near it, he's going to catch it. There's a lot of good size and speed too, some strength as well. So he's a guy that can really, I think, carry Team V as we approach the second half of the season and maybe definitely make a playoff push. And you never know what could happen after that.
Mhm. Do you kind of a bit off topic? Do you think Chamonix shows are gonna go undefeated this year with they're right now they're 4-0.
Right?
They won a 19-18 with a close one versus Swiffer
Yep.
West Jets.
Yep.
Then they got a good game. They got a good win on a very good football team, 36-12. They beat Gold Rush 19-13, and they beat Vengeance, which is their own 14, but they beat them 32-12. So
Yeah.
pretty much all impressive wins except for against Swiffer Jet, where again they won by 1 point. Where if they played again, you never know, that could have been a loss. But do you think that's a team that could go 10-0 this season?
So this is a team. So like again, last year I wrote for Division 6, and this is a team that it's a Batazzi show. So it's the quarterback Matthew Batazzi and his brother Jonathan Batazzi. Jonathan made All Star last year. I think he was the leading receiver in Division 6. The brother was in. I think he came in second or worst third for quarterback of the year. So that connection is back and they're solid so far. So I mean, their offense. I mean, and not to take away. I mean, they have some other guys who could definitely ball on their offense and can make some plays. And I'm looking at guys, for example, like again here, like Jonathan Danessa, Brock Zwicker. I think he played last year too. Alex Forgione. There's a lot of guys on the team that can really make some plays, and Bertazzi does spread the ball around a little bit. But when push comes to shove, you need a first down, you need a touchdown. It's going to Jonathan Bertazzi, his brother. And so I think with those two kind of attached at the hip, the sky's the limit for their offense. It's going to be on opposing defenses to roll the coverage over to Jonathan and try and take him away. And even then, the brother Matthew could throw it into a window, and Jonathan has really good hands. So I mean, I think to answer your question, looking at their offense so far, they've been pretty impressive, and I think they could definitely make that run to in the playoffs. I don't know about finishing undefeated. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't see them finishing with more than 2 losses in the regular season.
Okay. Do you also think that's a downfall sometimes when you like because his brother's his number one target? Do you think that's also a bad thing? Because as a defensive mind, like me, I'm a defensive guy,
Yeah,
and when I see, I sometimes I do look at stats. Depends on the situation. But when as I can see, Jonathan right now, he has 27 targets. He's caught 23 of them, 271 yards with 5 touchdowns. So do you
right,
think maybe
right.
sometimes if teams do key on that and they're like, it's 4th and 7, he's going to his brother, like let's try to take that out the picture. Do you think that's going to be a
Yeah.
downfall for them, or do you think it's something where it's like whatever, he's going to pass the ball
What
to somebody else?
I mean, that's why you have other guys on the team, right? You look at Brock Zwicker, pardon me. He has 19 targets, only 11 catches. So I mean, there's 7. I don't know. I don't want to say all 7 could be drops. It could be throwaways in his direction, whatever. So I think it could be a negative. Listen, the defense knows where the ball's going. It's most likely going to Batazzi. I said it a few seconds ago. But again, you have to still stop it, right? And that also means other guys on your team have to step up and make a play. You know the same, right? Playing from tackle, you can flag right next man up or next lady up as well. And you have to find a way to have your other guys, your second, third, fourth receivers to step up and make a play. I don't think it works against him. Again, you know the ball's going to him, but you also have to stop it as a defense.
Hmm. Sure. All right. So let's move to uh,
Yeah,
five
5B.
B. Yeah, go to 5B.
Yeah, so looking at it here, man, I mean, we talked about parity in 6B. We talked a lot about parity in 6A. Looking at it here, I mean, it's a lot of the same. I'm looking at the loss columns. There's only okay, so there's 25 teams. 16 make the postseason, but I'm looking at the loss column here, and it's not bad. Um, 3 undefeated teams: the Cratchel Boys, Les Manger des Banges, the Ducks. But there's also the Gooners who don't have a loss yet. There's the Mighty Ducks who don't have a loss. There's the Demons who don't have a loss. And I was instructed, so I call games at well, my main place where I call games is at McGill. So I do football with Mo, but I do hockey and some other sports. So I was working with Neil Wright, who plays for the Demons. He told me to give him and his team a shout out. I told him, well, I'll give a spoiler now. This is my pick as a dark horse. They're not in the top of the standings right now. Again, they're only sitting at 2-0. That's not their fault. Only two games played. This is my dark horse pick to make a run to the finals. I believe they won it all last year, right? So this is definitely a team that can go all the way. They have a lot of length and they have a lot of skill and speed on their team. Again, looking at the teams who I said are in first, this is a wide open division. Again, 25 teams. That's a lot of teams. So I mean, could be a lot of change between now and the end of the regular season.
Yeah. For let's just start with the bottom teams. So
Right?
you have flag dealers, lay immortals, and
Yeah,
Mama's favorite. 0 and
yeah,
5, 0 and 4, 0 and 4. Lay immortals are they've scored 18 points and they have allowed 150 points. So
right,
uh,
right.
they're averaging about 5 points per game. So maybe a touchdown every 2 games, I believe. Do you see any of these teams turning it around and making a playoff push? Because also, what I would like to add too, that there is 25 teams, so the top 16 make it. You have the top 14, 15, 16 that are 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 1. So technically, as
Yeah,
soon as these teams get a win, they're one closer. I mean,
yeah.
they're
They
one
vault
step closer
things.
making a thing. So let's just say out of the three teams that are at the bottom three because they've played the most games in their season and they're pretty much halfway through their season, which one of these teams would you give a chance to make a playoff push?
I'm gonna say the flag dealers. This is a team again. So last year, I wrote for Division Six, like I said, and they were one of those try hard teams. They have a quarterback. He's a good dude. Roy Khalil. He throws so many ints. It is what it is. Sorry, he throws way too many interceptions. Unfortunately, that kind of really derails their offense at times. But they have some really good receivers. Looking at it here, sorry, as my microphone falls down. So they got like the Haddad guys, right? They have looking at it, yeah, it's Mike Haddad, it's Mark Haddad, they have some other weapons on their offense. They know how to score points, but again, giving up 134 points on defense doesn't help. But that's also your offense turning over the ball and giving the opposing offense more opportunities to score. I'm looking at it right now with Mama's favorite. I mean, 0-5, so half your season's already done. They've given up 186 points so far. So 186 divided by 5, they're giving up 37 points a game. There's still a chance to turn things around, but as the saying goes, it's getting late early for a lot of those old 4 teams and like 5 dealers, Lays Immortal, and Mama's favorite. They got to, and even going out of business, Sleepy Nobody. Teams like the Diddlers again 0-2, not that many games played. Obviously, Chicken Little's only one game played. Hard Knocks only one game played. But for all those other teams who are all 4 right now, that have played more than or 3 games or more, it's getting late early. So they're gonna have to figure out something on both sides of the ball, specifically for those last 3 teams in Flag Dealers, Lays Immortal, and Mama's favorite defensively.
Yeah, so that's exactly I was kind of thinking as well. Because how I see it, I feel like you can make the playoffs. If you have maybe 3 games, maybe
Three,
four,
yeah, I think
3 or
4 gets you
four.
in 100%. Yeah,
Because again, as I said, it's a big division. 25 teams is a lot of teams, and only having
yeah,
16 make
yeah,
playoffs, it kind of it could kind of your season could kind of end very fast before you even know it. So
exactly.
I would say like if you go if I would say if they lose the next 2 games each, it's going to be very hard for them, all three of them, to actually if they end up going 0-6, 0-6, and 0-7, I feel like it's going to be hard for them to finally make that
Yeah,
push.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, like honestly, those 3 teams, they have maybe 2 more losses. Really one, but at the most 2 more losses they could suffer this season before it becomes a wrap. I think.
Another good question for you was so you have I think we have 1, 2, 3, 5. I think we have 5 teams that are undefeated right now.
Yep.
We have Crash Out Boys,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Les Monks de I don't know how to say it. Do you see that?
Yeah, les mangeurs de bains, like eating
Yeah,
donuts.
okay, Les Monks.
Donut.
Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, pardon my French. You
Yeah.
have
No worries.
Ducks. You have Gooners.
Yep.
you have Mighty Ducks, and then you have Demons, right?
Yeah. Yep. Uh,
Sorry, Les Monts de
no,
Bains actually have a tie, so technically they can't have they can't have a perfect season anymore. So we actually
I
have
hear you.
four teams instead. So we have Crash Out
Yeah. I
Boys,
mean, yeah.
Ducks,
It's
Gooners, and Mighty Ducks, and then Demons. So you have five.
yeah. I mean, it's still no
Who?
losses. But I hear
Yeah,
you.
exactly. So out of all these teams, who do you think goes the furthest without any losses? So because Crash Outs they do have 4 games played. So for
Yeah.
Gooners to kind of have a better record than them, it means they would have to get the extra win and then
Right.
continue
Right.
going on.
Right.
Same thing as for Demons and also for Mighty Ducks. But as right now, who do you think goes the furthest without having a loss?
I think the Gooners. This is a team who, yeah, they talk a lot of trash. They get a ton of penalties, a ton of OCs. They're fun to watch. So I've scored kept the one or two of their games over the last year or so. But I'm usually at a field where they're playing and end up finding myself watching them. Like I saw them a few weeks ago at Laval. I was watching them play. I saw them a few weeks ago, I believe, at the Stinger Dome, and I was like, I'm gonna watch these guys play. They're fun. Again, they talk a lot of trash, a bit too much for some people's liking, not mine. I know they're some officials aren't the happiest when they have to referee when they have to officiate a game with these guys. But I mean, there's some young kids that like to talk a little bit. They're a little cocky, but I mean that's not necessarily a bad thing. They're explosive. They have a lot of firepower. Their quarterback, no Liblin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I'm not. 12 TDs, only one INT so far. Again, this team is fast, they're athletic, and they'll let you know about it. So I think that's a team. Hopefully, they learn from some of their mistakes in terms of getting silly penalties. But I mean, look, they scored 39 points against flag dealers. They beat the Dirty Dogs 26-18, and they edged out the Maccabees 39-32. So what does that tell you? They can win by a blowout. They could also win the close ones. And then usually in the playoffs, most of the games are closer than not. So if you could beat teams in a variety of ways, I think that's important.
So a good, basically, it's kind of funny right now because Crash Out Boys and the Gooners play this weekend. So
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
two
this
teams.
Sunday.
Yeah. So you have two teams. You have a team that's 3-0, and you have a team that's 4-0. So someone's gonna have it's either or unless they have a tie, but
Exactly. Yeah,
someone's gonna.
exactly. Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully
So
not. Yeah, I'm looking at Crash Boys right here. I know C Fast Cassid. I remember him playing a couple different teams over the years. They got some talent. They got some talent on this team. They got a lot of speed too. So I mean, their defense is on point. I mean, they give it. They look at it. I mean, best defense in the league right now, right? They led in six, 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 and seven. So I mean, I don't
yeah.
care who you're playing. If you're able to smother somebody on defense and hold the team to one touchdown, I'm changing my bet. Crash Out Boys, I think are going to be the team. It's gonna be
Well,
undefeated.
they play the Crasher Boys play Gooners and then they play Ducks and they play basically Gooners are 3-0
Right,
and Ducks
right.
are 3-0. I believe Ducks are gonna play. Yeah, so they actually play Ducks. Ducks their next game that the next game that Ducks play is Crasher Boys as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
Crasher
You're right.
Boys do end up beating um,
Gooners.
Gooners. They actually end up playing an undefeated Ducks team as well.
Right.
So pretty
Okay.
much,
You know what? Okay, let's come back to this one in a couple of weeks. I'm flipping and flopping all over the place right here. You know what? I'm gonna say. You know what? I'm gonna get off the fence. I'm gonna say the winner of this Sunday's game, February 2nd, my birthday, by the way. Whoever wins the Crash Show Boys Gooners game is gonna have the better record in the regular season. Again, I don't want to say 10-0, but I'm gonna say
yeah.
whoever wins that game is gonna finish first overall in the division.
Okay. Do you see any of these teams at the? I know you said Demons. Yeah, Demons is your dark
This is
horse.
my
Very
pick. Yeah,
true.
100%. That team is deep and they're talented. They've only played 2 games so far, right? So I mean, people haven't really got to see what they can do. I had a chance again covering Division 6 last year. These guys are legit. So that's gonna be my. I don't even want to say it's a dark horse pick. I think right now I'm saying dark horse is because they're in 12th place because they've only played 2 games. So I think if they had played 3 or 4, they'd be closer to the top of the standings. But and that's my pick to make a run.
Okay. There's also the teams that are on the bottom. You have Hard Knocks and Chicken Littles. They've only played 1 game, so it's kind of
Yeah,
hard to actually
exactly,
see
exactly, exactly,
that
exactly.
compared to other teams that are 1-3, 1-2 that played for 3 games. So So I think
I
we'll go into sorry what?
as in say, I can tell you, going out of business, they're 0-2. They played 2 games, but they've scored 12 points in 2 games. So that's a touchdown a game. Yeah, that's they're not making the playoffs, fortunately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have allowed 96 to them. They're
Yeah,
allowing 40
yeah,
points a
yeah,
game.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
that's not the way. But you never
but
know. As we said in this division, it takes one game where you become the bottom seed and you can just you get up onto the top. Not the top, but you get the bottom of the top.
right,
So
that's true. That is true. That is true. That is true.
anything can happen, especially in Division Five. So let's go
Yeah,
Division 5A now.
yeah, yeah. Looking at it right here, I mean, in this division, looking at the teams
We
right
have
here. So
24 teams.
yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of teams. A lot of ball.
Yeah.
24
You
teams, and
kind of see the same thing going down all the lines. Like you
yeah,
see the 0 and 4s, and then you
yeah,
see the 4 and 0s, and then the 2 and 0s, the 3 and 0s, and well, there's no 3 and 0s actually, 3 and 1s. So you
yeah,
kind of get the same thing in every division. So
yeah,
as we'll go from what I was basically saying from the bottom. So you have I like to start from the bottom three teams. So you
yeah,
have
yeah.
Mixed Mambas, Brewers, and Texan Whales. So you have 0 and 4, 0 and 3, 0 and 2. Uh,
Hmm.
every team right now, all three teams are pretty much averaging. It seems like this team's averaging. Mixed Mambas are averaging 26 points per game, which is pretty. Actually, that's not bad at all. Brewers are averaging 20.5 per game, and then Texas Whales are averaging about 18 per game. So they're scoring. They're all scoring pretty much. They're all averaging about 3 touchdowns per game. Out of these three teams, oh, actually, Vince, you have Vice City too, and then LA Tigers. So I'll actually add them
Yeah,
all. I'll actually add those teams too because they none of them have a one. No, none of them have a win yet. So if you had to take, so they're the bottom two, three, four, the bottom five teams. Out of these five teams, who do you think has the best chance to make playoffs? If you're just looking at the stats and if you're just looking
right.
at the board just like that without looking at the players and stuff.
Yeah, I'd have to say it's a good question. I would have to say maybe I want to say they mix Mambas. I've seen them play. I like the team. There's a lot of good dudes on that team. They got a lot of size. They got some speed. They got a lot of veteran experience on this team too. I'm a little surprised right now they're 0-2. Just looking at who they've lost to. Yeah, they lost to the Phoenix Devils who were in first, and they lost to Toon Squad. I mean, they put up 28 and 24 points respectively. It's just they've given up 46 and 37 points respectively. I'm still gonna say I think that could be a team. They got a couple of guys with tackle experience. And my main man Usman Gindo, former guy at McGill,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of the cast on the team. A lot of good dudes, a lot of size too on that team. I'm gonna say these guys are gonna be my pick as a team that can make that second half push and at least make the playoffs because I think this team is too talented to not make the playoffs. I think with these guys though it comes down to well any team really it comes down to quarterback play, right? So I know their their quarterback play. I mean, there's like kind of three guys, two guys, right? Dallas Odin and Arnis Memitaj, my bad. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So I mean, I don't know why Dallas Odin's listed twice, but I mean, they throw in a total of 8 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. So I mean, you got to cut down on the turnovers. I don't know which Dallas Odin. There's either number 0 Dallas Odin or number 6 Dallas Odin. Hopefully, it's going to be number 0 Dallas Odin because he's completed 75% of his passes versus 65 for number 6. But anyways, just a team that has some skill. They just got to kind of get the turnovers in order and get some stops on defense, right? That's what it comes down to with these guys. Because their offense, again, they're scoring about 30 a game. That shouldn't be a problem. They should be able to keep up with most teams. It's just you got to keep teams out of the end zone. So I think the Mixed Mambas are going to make a run. And I remember talking to you last week. I said the Texas Whales. I like this team. It's a team again. Turnovers. Tyler Cousins, is their quarterback. I think Tyler Cousins. He's like that prototypical quarterback you would see. Like he's like 6'3", maybe 6'4". He's long. He has a cannon for an arm, and he can run as well. And they have weapons. They have a couple guys on their team like George Spano, Chas Pisanelli, Elio Cargilia. My bad. I apologize. They have guys that can go up and make plays for them. It's just the ints really kill them. I think if Cousins kind of plays like Kirk Cousins. If you can get that INT total down a bit, this is a team with enough talent to make a push to the playoffs.
Yeah, I can see he's thrown 9 touchdowns and he's allowed 11 INTs.
Yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
you
It's
you
not a
always
recipe
want to
for
have more
talent.
touchdowns than INTs, and then things could start kind of turning around in your favor.
And you know what? I will say Ambush as well. So Ambush is a team again. There's a lot. Ben McMahon, Kevin Dunn on the team. My main man Phil Roberts is on the team. So there's a lot of experience. Even Gary McMahon, Ben's dad's on the team. They're the quarterback by Dante Girardi. He's a good guy. He's always at all the FPF games, usually with Ben and Phil. And this is a team looking at it right now. They're sitting at 1-2. So I mean, it's not horrible. They got a big win
No,
over Ice Up, but then offensively they struggled the week after against No Flags Given. They gave up 32 points and only scored 13, and they lost a tough one to the underdogs Saturday night, 34-33, right? So, I mean, Ambush is another team that I think as the season goes on, they're definitely going to get better and better.
yeah, exactly. As we were saying from the other divisions, when you lose by 1 point, sometimes sometimes you do get the garbage touchdown and the score doesn't really result to actually what it is. But
Yeah,
so as we said, this game could have changed around. Like let's say they do end up playing versus each other again, it could go the other way around where Ambush
exactly.
wins
Exactly.
34-33. So
Exactly.
that's 1 point, not that much. So at the top, let's talk about the top 5 teams in Division A. Um, yeah, let's talk about the 5. So you have the Fena Devils, Old
Yep.
Pats, Merchants, Ice Up, and Thunder Buddies. And then you know what? As we might as well put Pump and Dump and Baby Sharks because we'll go top 7.
Okay.
So you have right now we have 4 teams undefeated. So you have Defina Devils, we have Thunder Buddies, Pump and Dump, and Baby Sharks. They are pretty much all averaging around the same thing. So they've scored. Let's just say you have for Devils, they scored 103, 123. They allowed 103. Thunder Buddies scored 94. They allowed 78. Pump and Dump 108, allowed 89. Baby Sharks 64-35. So it's around the same line. It's Sharks pretty much have the best because they're about like a 30 from the difference from point for versus points against. But around they're all around the same lines. Out of the 4 teams that I just named, who do you think has the best possibility of going undefeated this year?
It's a good question. I'm going to say, I mean, roll with Baby Sharks. I mean, I look at their defense, right? I mean, they held Toon Squad to 20, and then they held Vice City to 15, right? And Baby Sharks have scored 33 and 31 points respectively. I mean, it's a small sample size, right? But defense is defense, and again, their offense, they're averaging over 30 points a game. You can't really argue with that too much. They have a couple of tests coming up again. They have the mix mambo, so that's a big game actually. I think for both teams. That's like, can the Baby Sharks knock off a team who they should be beating? Can the mix mambas kind of get their season back on track? That's this Saturday at Empressard. Then they play the underdogs. They play Salsa and the Peppers, another team I like a lot. I've always liked this team. A lot of good athletes on that team, some veteran experience as well, some big playmakers. So I mean, and they play Ice Up after that, right? So I think the schedule for Baby Sharks is going to really prove over the next couple of weeks as we approach the midway point of the season, right? Are these guys for real? I think they are. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt right now.
Yeah,
Do
all
you see
right.
anybody coming out of here?
I actually watched.
I was going to say, do you see anybody
Sorry.
coming out of this division like as a
Well,
surprise team?
I watched. Oh, well, not a surprise team, but I just feel like I watched. I was playing at Loyola on Sunday, I believe, and I got to see Defina Devils,
Right,
and
right.
they're a pretty good team. Uh, they have
Okay.
a they have Jordan. Well, Noah Groper is on the team as well, but I'm not sure if he's a sub. He's only played 1 game,
Okay. Oh,
but they have
that's big.
Jordan Dubuck that I played with, which he's a pretty
Okay.
good defender. He made a couple good plays for that game that they played against Orange Crush.
Okay.
So
Nice.
if it was for me, I would think with the from what I saw, what I watched, I pretty much watched their full game. I would feel like they would have the best chance to have undefeated season
Okay,
the way they
okay.
play.
And we'll have to
That
see.
would
We'll have to see what's up. I mean,
it's also it's easier to say it's easier for me to say that because they are 4-0, so they're just technically missing
yeah.
only
But that's it. Yeah, yeah.
six more games left. But they do have a they're playing Thunder Buddies next. So I mean, Thunder Buddies is also a pretty good team. You have Will Power on the team, and then you have Terry.
Yeah, Terry
Um,
Palace. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, veteran
yeah,
quarterback,
exactly. So
stand-up
they're
guy
playing a very good veteran team there. So it's going to be a very good test for them. But I
for
feel like
sure.
if
For
they're
sure.
able to get that, if they're able to win that game and as a impressive win, I mean, I think then people will kind of start realizing that they are a real
Yeah, for
deal
real.
if they
Yeah.
have uh, to have that undefeated season.
I gotta say, I know I talked to you about this last week. The Pigeons is a team who I also think could definitely make a run in the second half. Like they were in Division 6 last year. I wrote about them. A lot of speed, a lot of chemistry. They were kind of the two brothers, or I think the brothers, Alessandro and Mass, Chibi Costa. Some big playmakers there, Anthony Del Pescio as well. So this team has again a lot of speed, a lot of playmaking, like big play, but not just playmaking, but big playability. If they can stop falling in love with the deep ball so much, I think they'll be a lot better. But just a team that could, one of those, they have receivers that can kind of take, like yourself, could take like a 5 yard hook and run for like a 40 yard touchdown. So that's obviously a
Mhm.
team to watch out for. But we'll have to see again. Let's see how they go. Right now, they're sitting, I believe, at, I want to say, yeah, 2-1 right now. So
Yeah,
definitely in the middle of the pack.
exactly. In a minute, yeah. Okay, that's actually the first time I've heard of the Pigeons. I've never seen them play before. But again, 5A, 5B, it's a lot of new teams or a lot of teams that just
Yeah,
started joining. So it's kind of hard to see every team. But
I
I'm
hear
gonna
you.
have
I hear you. Yeah, keep it on. Their jerseys are pretty tight. Like these baby blue jerseys are not bad. It's kind of it's
yeah.
a
I'm
mixture of
looking
like baby
at
blue and teal.
I'm looking at it right now. It's a good mix.
Yeah,
No
it's not bad.
complaints.
It's not bad. Let's hop over to
So
4B.
yeah,
Cool. Looking at the standings right now, Black Vipers 4-0. Win Diesel. I have no idea how they're allowed to be in that division, but whatever. They're 4-0. Team Sexy 3-0. Slippery Slopes are 2-0. Looking at it right now, yeah, there's a so starting at the bottom, like to do, Chattagee Community College. Now, I played football in Chattagee many moons ago. If you told me there's a community college there, I would have been shocked. But hey, whatever. They made some improvements in Chattagee. All right, they should make some improvements to that field. But hey, they're 0-4. 164 points given up so far. That is not a good look, but I mean, it's early in the year. Les Tondeuses, 0-4. Coconuts, 0-4. Mofos, that's not bad, 0-3. Then there's a couple of teams at 1-3, 1-3, 1-2, 1-1. The West Island Boys are in this division. I don't know how they're not Division 3, but whatever. The West or Division 4, right? The West Island Boys are in here as well. I'm not hating. I'm just saying there's some teams who are too good for this division, but it is what it is. So yeah, the West Island Boys are in there too, looking at 2-2. I'll give you my take on them after. But what do you see? What do you like? What do you not like so far out of this division?
I like this division. There's a lot of well known names, a lot of known teams as well. So it's gonna be very when it comes down to the playoffs, it's gonna be very interesting who ends up winning this
Yeah,
division. As I said, you see Wendy's Loan. To be honest, they're a really good team. Strong team, team sexy. I've seen them play a while. Like I've seen them play a couple games, couple seasons. West
yeah.
Island Boys as well. I've watched them
Mm-hmm.
play. So it's a very. I don't think I've seen Black Vipers. I don't think I've
No,
ever
I've never seen
seen
them. I've never seen them.
them play. Maybe I
I'll check these
have. I
guys
just
out.
maybe haven't realized. But they don't have a picture up yet right now. But I haven't recognized any of their any names. As, no, I don't recognize names. But no, the division it seems like it's going to be a good one. It seems like there's a lot of well known
Yeah.
teams. So I feel like could go anyways. As we see, Vipers are 4-0, when Diesel are 4-0, Team Sexy's 3-0. and then you have 3-1, 3-1 from Raw Sauce, and then Slippery Slope is 2-0. So it seems like for this division, you have the top eight powerhouse teams, and then
Yeah,
when you're going down, you have the 2-2, the 2-2, 2-1, pretty whatever. Parlays kind of, I guess, because they have one game less played. That's the reason why they're low as they are. And the West Island boys are also pretty good. But then you have the 1-1, 1-2 when you go down from the teams that are trying to make that playoff push. But no, the division looks good. As I said before, I feel like I'm gonna be surprised on when playoffs do start because again, you have a lot of good teams that are. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be. I'm interested how the playoffs are gonna go down because right now it seems like Vipers and When Diesel and Team Six. I feel like those are gonna be the top three teams going into the end of the season. I feel like when I don't think When Diesel is actually gonna lose a game. Um, they're I watched them play also on Sunday, and they're the real deal. I believe they
yeah.
won Tier Four last season,
I believe you're right.
and
Yeah,
I think it was a blowout. I think they blew out the team
yeah.
that they. Beat.
Hence, what
So
I'm saying, I have no idea how they're allowed to play in I mean, it's not to play in Division 4B, but I mean,
yeah, but I also feel like if they were in Division Three, I think it would have been a bigger jump for them, so they wouldn't be able to
I
excel as
don't know
much.
about that.
I feel like after this season, there's no way this team's going back division. Next winter season, there's no way this team's going to be allowed to go back in Division
I,
Four. I
I
believe
would
they're
hope
going to
not. I
be
would hope not.
Division Three team.
I'll
Um,
be honest. I remember a couple years ago trying to recruit Will C. Bag to throw for my team. I saw him playing. I want to say it was Division 6 or Division 5. I think it was his first or second year in the league. So I was talking to Mike Pearson. I was talking to Mike about him because Mike was on my team and we watched him. And I was like, yeah, there's no way this guy should be playing this low. And I remember talking to Will. And know him a little bit. His bro, one of his brothers, and he was going to play at U of M it was in summer season, spring season,
okay.
whatever. So I remember talking to him before the playoffs started. Like, hey, listen, I'm trying to put in a team either for the fall or this winter. Would you be interested in playing? He's like, okay, maybe, whatever. We'll see what happens. But he's like, I'm going to play at U of M, so probably not. Didn't work out for him at U of M, but he's not a Division 4 quarterback. I mean, he's proven,
I
like you
mean,
said, yeah. But
yeah, I play actually. I went to Tampa with him last 2 weeks ago,
okay, there you
and
go.
he didn't play a quarterback, but we had a double quarterback option, but he
Yeah,
played
yeah,
as
yeah,
more as a receiver and defender. And
yeah.
yeah, he's an amazing athlete. And
100%.
even at QB, like
100%.
right now when he's playing games, he's making these throws, and it just seems effortless. Like how the ball like gets to a receiver. Sometimes I'm like, how did he even throw that? But
Well, you look at it right now. 4 games played. He has 21 TDs already. For some people, 21 TDs is an entire season. He's already
yeah,
could start marking 4 games, right? And his brother, one of his brothers, pardon me, Felix, stud receiver. This kid is underrated. He has speed. He has hands. He can run every route. So, and obviously, Will looks to give him the ball as often as possible. The one thing I got to say about Will's game, so I remember when I first saw him, so he was playing also with, I believe, Marcus Lynch, who plays at Con U, another great athlete with a ton of speed. Will used to scream at his receivers all the time. They would drop a pass or whatever. He would scream at them. And I've noticed watching him play the last couple of years, he's matured a little bit. Not all the way, but he's not on his receivers so much when they make mistakes, right? Even on defense, and yelling at guys on defense for being in the wrong spot and
yeah,
not making a play. I think that's a good sign of growth from him, it's helped his team because his team has gotten better as well, and obviously they have some championship hardware to prove it, right? So again, this is a team I think right now should be in Div 3. Like you said, this is probably the last year to be messing around in the fours, but I think already they should have been bumped up. At least Will's rating should have been Div 3 as a
yeah,
quarterback, and
higher than what it does. Yeah.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, they
But they're
should
here
just
now.
enjoy
Take
it.
advantage of it.
Enjoy it now because
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
it's not gonna last. A very good question for you. Uh, Chattagee Community College.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you think all the guys are from Chattagee?
That's what I would like to know. We should ask Rochelle. Rochelle should know that. She's like the queen of strategy there. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a good question. We could ask Kevin Wyatt. Kevin Wyatt, no. I don't
If
know.
this
I'm
is
looking at some of the names here. That's a good. You know, you guys should call at us. Let us know because that'd be kind of cool. It'd be really funny if none of those guys were from Shadigi, I think. But I
That
mean,
would actually be really hilarious. Because to make a name like that, I feel like all your guys are from Shadigi, or a good portion of them are from Shadigi.
is there?
So I
You know
can't.
what? Sorry, go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go.
I just want to see. I'm checking right now online to see if there's actually a Shadigi Community College. I have my
I don't
doubts, but I
think. I
mean,
don't think there is. But as we're
it's
on the
really hard.
topic, well, let's just go from the 0-3 teams because we talked a lot about the. Well, we talked about a lot about Win Diesel. Win Diesel. Do you
Mhm.
think any of the bottom four teams? So you have 0-3, you have Mofo's 0-3, Coconuts 0-3, Lake Tortoise 0-4, and Community College 0-4. Do you think any of these teams are gonna get a chance to make a playoff push, or is their season pretty much?
No, I think the season's done. I mean, at least for Shadigi Community College, like Letondus and Coconuts. I mean, they've all given up almost 125 points each. Coconuts are at 124. They've all given up a ton of points. It's hard to win games if you can't stop anybody. At least teams like Snowden Delhi, they Degans, Gas the Dudes, or Gas the 12, however you want to say it. There's some teams at least they're on par with what they've scored and what they've given up. But looking at it right now, like Chattahoochee Community College are at a minus 60. The Tundras are like at a minus 87. I can't see them making it. The Mofos maybe have an outside shot because they're 0-3.
Hmm.
But even the Coconuts, again, 0-4. It's just not Coconuts maybe because they've scored nine. They've given up 124, but they've scored 90. So that
Yeah,
at least is not so bad. There's some
yeah, they're
positivity you
scoring.
can take out of it.
Yeah, they're averaging 22 points a game,
Yeah,
which
but
is
again,
not
like I
bad.
said earlier, yeah, well, that's it, that's it. But again, like I said earlier, man, for those old four teams, like it's getting late early, man. They gotta get their act together and figure out something, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Also, the biggest
Um,
issue is that it's different when you have teams that are 1-2, 1-3, in the playoff
exactly,
spot.
exactly.
But right now, the bottom team, you have West Island Boys that are 2-2. Okay, and then you have a
Yeah, yeah,
parlay.
exactly,
You
exactly.
don't have the privilege of going, like, losing your first 5 games and trying to make a playoff push at the end, because you're gonna have. I feel like in this
There you
division,
go.
I feel like you're gonna have to win at least 4 to 5 games to make playoffs. Just the way
Oh, for
all
sure.
all these teams are looking like. I think if you go four and
Hmm.
six, you probably won't have been playoffs. I think you have to make. I think you have to go 5-5 to have a playoff spot, which is kind of crazy because there's only 20
Yeah,
teams, and you would think sometimes you get away with a 3-7 at the bottom team, but I believe it's going to be. I think you're going to have to win at least four games for sure. Five,
yeah,
I think you should be fine.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. You're right.
Looking at
What about for you, like middle of the pack teams? Is your team right now who we haven't talked about? Do you think to make that second half push and make that run towards the championship?
I would say Slippery Slopes.
Okay, why?
Um, they're averaging about 28 points, 28.5 points a game.
Okay, yeah,
They actually have a dual quarterback. I'm not exactly sure how that's possible. Well, that's happening because you have Tony Tabet that played
yeah, but
quarterback
yeah,
for
yeah,
them. So also it's hard to tell because they're 2-1, right? They're 2-0. So sometimes it's hard
yeah,
to
yeah,
see
yeah.
who's a sub, who's not a sub. But you have Trevor Ruffner I'm going to assume that he's the quarterback, but he's
Okay,
thrown 4 touchdowns in 2 games, no ints, and then the other quarterback has thrown 5. So uh,
right, right.
right now they're doing pretty well. They're scoring the points that they have to score. They're like in between. They're allowing 18, 27, so they're averaging 22, which is not bad because they're scoring more than they're allowing. So like a team like
Yeah,
that, that's just kind of coasting. For me, I like teams like that because it's balanced. You're not allowing
yeah,
too much.
exactly,
You're not
exactly.
scoring too much. So it's not it's not the best, but it's not the worst. So I feel like a lot of times
Yeah,
when you
that's fair.
see teams like that, I like average teams. Sometimes I feel like if you explode too early on, it starts to bite you at the end of the season. If you're a team that's 10-0 and then are 9-1 and you have no losses, you don't
Right,
you
right,
don't get
right.
that privilege of having those games that are when it's like when it comes down to playoffs, like you're not used to having a team close to you. I feel like
Yeah,
this
you're not
team, like,
tested exactly.
yeah, I feel like right now, like that's how something that's how I feel. I feel like right now their stats the stats that they have right now are pretty good, and I
Yeah,
feel like they're also just like their stats wise is good. If that makes
yeah,
any sense. But that's
that's fair.
that
That's
would be
fair.
my team that I would choose as
Okay, okay. I'm gonna say quickly, so now we gotta move on to the next division. I'm gonna say I was gonna say the West Island Boys again. They have Skylar Bailiff playing quarterback again. I don't know how he's allowed to throw in this division either. This guy's a stud at quarterback. Julian McLaren Thompson, a good buddy of mine. Obviously, great receiver, great rusher. You can put him anywhere you want on the field. I'm looking at the chosen ones though. So Sanders, our boy Sanders Armand, obviously he's a quarterback there. Joey Natero is on the team as well. So I'm saying them just because Sanders has gotten better as a quarterback every season now that he's decided to be the main man behind snapper. So
well.
yeah, I'm gonna say the chosen ones just because I mean again no disrespect the West Island Boys are a solid team. They're 2-2 I believe right now. Yeah, they're 2-2. They're gonna be better. I'm not worried about them. I would say going into the season they're one of the favorites. So I can't call them a sleeper just because right now they're sitting at 2-2. I'm gonna go and shout out to my boy Anthony Grotto, Mr. Sam Howell himself. I'm gonna go with the chosen ones. This was Sanders because again I think Sanders obviously we know what he does as a defender, one of the best
Yeah.
defenders, definitely top three worst case scenario in all of FPF. But as a quarterback, he's gotten better and better. So I'm gonna put my money on Sanders and his squad.
Okay, I like that. The only thing I would have to say about that is that when you have a quarterback like Sanders, because he's getting used to it, if you do
Yeah,
get a good rush, that's
it's
also
true.
a breaking point. Because I feel like Sanders does use his legs a lot. So,
Yeah,
but it's a good pick. If he
It's 8 o'clock.
if he's able to control his offense and just make the right reads, they can make some noise when it
yeah,
comes down to playoffs. As I said
that is
again,
true. That is true.
he has 11 rushing attempts, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Right, so it's a lot of yards for so far in 4 games played. So the problem with that is sometimes when you have a good rusher, you don't get to use your legs as much, and your offense becomes less effective as it could be.
Exactly, exactly. No, you're right. You're right. Again, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we'll hit the midpoint of the season. We'll definitely come back, and even next week we'll come back and see how all these teams are doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
So we'll go to
yeah. Let's
4A.
hop over to Division Three.
I think we're at 4A.
Uh, oh, 4A, my bad. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Sorry, 4A.
4A.
Jumping
Yeah,
the gun there a little bit. My apologies. Okay,
no,
yeah,
you're
so
good.
that Division 4A.
So 4A, 19 teams, 12
Yep.
make playoffs. We'll start. Let's start at the bottom three. Oh, we'll go at the bottom. It's better to just kind of see who's over there. So you have CRA Bombers, Blue
Yep.
Balls,
Yep. Yep.
Nighthawks, Voodoo, and Ball Don't Lie. That
Yep.
is 5 teams with no wins right now. Out of these 5 teams, who do you feel has the best chance to start
Oof.
winning some games?
I did a Nighthawks game in Laval. I want to say the first week of the season. They lost a heartbreaker. I mean, they just lost another heartbreaker actually to they lost to Mengoose. Yeah, they lost a heartbreaker to Sleeping All Stars. That was a game. It went down to the wire. Sleeping All Stars was up huge, and then Nighthawks started coming back, coming back, coming back. And I'm not going to throw them under the bus. There's a player on the team that dropped a guaranteed pick six at his opponent's 5 yard line. He started kind of running before he got the ball, and he dropped it. And then the game ended up going lasted a little longer than it should have actually. And then Sleeping All Stars came away to win. To answer your question, I want to go with Nighthawks just because they have talent on that team. So they have Ivan Solomon as a quarterback. He's like he can run around, he'll scramble, he can run for a gazillion yards. He's not the most accurate quarterback. He kind of just throws it up unless his receivers make a play. If I was these guys, I would use him as a receiver and put Mark Antoine Martin as a quarterback. He's more of a veteran. He ends up playing snapper for them. They have a lot of athletes. They're deep. They're skilled. They have a lot of speed. I'm gonna say right now, out of the teams that have 0 wins, I'm gonna pick the Nighthawks to make that push towards the postseason.
Okay. You don't. Would you if I would have to ask? Well, unless Voodoo doesn't have the same roster as they usually would have,
Yeah, I'm
because
looking at it right now. I was gonna pick Voodoo.
they scored 19
Um,
points in 50. They've been looking for some guys the last couple of weeks. I think some guys
yeah,
ended up going with them this season. So maybe that's the reason why they have the slow start that they're having. Because what's the quarterback's name? Frank, right? Frank, yeah,
Oh,
Frank.
Frank
Frank's
K.
been
Yeah, 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 yeah. Frank. Yeah, yeah. So this is a good guy, Frank K.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I've seen Frank play for. I think he's been in the league
yeah,
for a while
yeah.
now.
Forever, forever. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I've seen Frank play a couple seasons.
yeah.
He does what he has to do. He gets the wins when he has to do the win. So I'm actually
Exactly. Yeah,
surprised that they're 2-0. They're 0-2 actually. Sorry, I'm surprised they're 0-2. But I know they've had some problems with their roster. It seems like when
yeah.
they made a couple quick posts. So maybe it's just that. But I would say that's one of the just because the veteran in Frank and the way he controls the offense and he's been in the league for so long. They also have a lot of vets too on this team. I think
Yeah,
that's one
exactly,
team
exactly.
I would choose to get a win.
Okay,
Uh,
no, that's fair. That's fair. Uh, in terms of teams on the outside looking in general, I picked the Rico. I played against the Rico Riders a million times over the years. That's always a tough, gritty team. I think they're gonna definitely make. I mean, they're 1-1 right now, so it's not as if their season is over. I think they'll make a push. Again, like I think the
yeah,
Nighthawks will hopefully get their act together. Yeah, same thing with all the teams. You know, you want to see as many teams fighting for the playoffs as
yeah,
possible.
exactly. But right now it's
Sorry,
pretty good because there's a lot of teams that are it's 1-1, right? So like as I said, if
yeah,
any CRA Bombers, Blue Balls, Nighthawks, Voodoo, Bottle Live, you guys could get one win. You're looking better. You end up Trap Stars are 1-1. If you guys get that one win, all of a sudden you become being the last team to the third team or the fifth team, the 15th
exactly,
team. Okay,
exactly,
it just
exactly,
takes that one
exactly,
win right now because there's so many teams that only
exactly.
have one win, so it's open. The
Yep,
season's still wide open compared to a lot of teams. When you start having teams that are 2-1 and they're 12th out of the 18, 19 teams, that's when it becomes starting to be a problem because one win is not enough. You need two wins. So right now, it seems like there's a lot of teams.
as the majority of them have one, except for the teams you talked about. Like the majority have one loss, right? I mean, there's only two undefeated teams: Speed Academy, and that's only because they played the 2-0, and then the Penetrators. The Penetrators are a veteran team. I've written about them in the past. That's a team who I think 4B. I think that's the perfect place for them. They could definitely make some noise. Played against Mangoose before. It's another veteran team. The Petit Carrots, they're a solid team as well. Played against those guys this past summer.
Hmm,
Um, yeah, I mean, so just looking at it right here with Mangoose again, they're 3-1. That's a team who could definitely make a push
yeah,
for a
veteran team too.
championship.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
seems like I
I
would
think this
actually.
division is really tight.
Yeah, I would. Mangoose looks like a very good team. I'm not sure. I guess they have a lot of pretty solid athletes on this team as well. Veteran
Oh
team
yeah,
too, and
yeah,
they've
for
been
sure, for sure,
for a while
for
now.
sure.
So, last question on this division. If you had to give, let's just say out of the 19 teams, who do you think would win? Who do you think has the best chance to win a championship? It's one team.
That's a good
Who
question.
would you
Wow.
give it to?
I'm gonna say Le Petit Carras because I have played against these guys before. They've won a championship before. They looking at their roster right now. So a lot of guys that I call games at Champlain, and there's a lot of former Champlain Cavaliers. Yeah, Jason Reyes is the quarterback. He could beat you with his arm. He could beat you with his legs. I'm gonna pick Le Petit Carrots if I'm gonna pick a winner. Who do you have?
I would go with Mangoose just because
Okay. Okay.
Monco, yeah, just because they're just the veteran they have and the athletes they do have. So I feel like when it comes down to athletic wise, I think they have pretty much the whole division covered. Also, just the experience that brings with them to go into that playoff run, which is like which is needed when you go down to it.
Right.
That's what
Right.
I would give.
Uh, I'm gonna give an outside shot to Goons. I like to see them. They have a lot of experience. They have a lot of firepower actually on that team as well. Guys like Carter Souls. I know. I don't know if El Andre Abbey's on the team. He's played on my team before. He plays in Division Two. I think he plays Division One as well. Plays for Con U. Justin Gauthier is a solid player as well. That would be a team. Like I say, outside chance. I think has a chance to win it all. They have a lot of skill on that team.
As we said, it's still a lot of games left.
Yep.
Season's only midway done, so anything could
Exactly.
change. Let's go to Division Three.
All right. So we got Division Three here. Yeah. So It's good to see. So looking at okay, quickly the Beer Belly Brigade. Obviously, Alex Fafard. He had a really bad injury in the fall season, right? I think he played maybe 3 or 4 games. He was out for the year. The team kind of fell apart. So I'm glad to see that he's back in action with the Beer Belly Brigade. I know every week, pretty much on the Facebook group, it was, "Hey, we need a quarterback. Hey, we need a guy." They had Gab Wiseman filled in for a bit, and this guy, that guy, didn't work
Mhm.
out. So I'm glad to see he's healthy. He's back in the game. It's always an exciting team to watch. They're being led right now offensively by Kevin Marcel. So Marcel is a good dude. 5 TDs on the season. There's a team. I mean, right now they're sitting at 3-0. So that's
Yeah,
a team that could definitely make a run. Their defense is looking. I mean, they had a tight one against AF1. They blew up Prodigy and they Penguin to 14 points. So at least defensively, they're doing what they should be doing so far in the season.
yeah. Also a veteran team. They've been in the league for a while now. I'm actually
Exactly.
happy to
Exactly.
see. I'm happy to see because usually they do play Division 3. They've been playing in a
Yeah.
while,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
they're usually not 3-0. Usually they're usually at the bottom of
Yeah.
the pack. They're usually I think they usually end their
Yeah.
season 2-8, 1-9. I believe when I used to play in Division 3 with the Brotherhood,
Okay.
so we would
Okay.
play them. So it's
Right.
good to see that they're 3-0, especially in Division 3. Division 3 winter, I feel like it's one of the hardest divisions to
Oh
play into
yeah.
because you have all these there's so much talent and so many guys that end up coming back and playing in the winter season.
Yeah.
So for them to be 3-0, it's very impressive. Good for them.
Definitely.
Um,
Definitely.
so just to go at the bottom, like there's three teams that are 0-2, 0-2, 0-3. So you have Prodigy, Big Fat Bats, and AF1.
Yeah.
Out of these three teams, right? There's 25 teams, 20 make playoffs, so it's more doable to make a playoff push. So who do you think out of these three teams have the best chance to make the playoffs?
I want to say Big Fat Bass. I remember playing against them in the summer season. They were a good team. Actually, we tied them week 1 last year. They have Luca Lechezi, solid snapper, solid rusher. AJ Zepatelli, great receiver. I think I'm not sure if he's in D1. I know he's in D2. I'm not sure if he's in D1, but he should be. Great player. So I'm gonna roll with those guys. They have a veteran experience. They have a lot of firepower. They just have to get a couple more touchdowns on offense. I mean, they're 0-2. Their quarterback is Matthew Sepatelli, 8 TDs, 4 INTs. He's only completing 56% of his passes. He's going to have to lower the INTs and raise that completion percentage. But I think the more time he gets under his belt here this season, I think the better that team will be, and they'll make a push towards the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah, I would say the same thing. I actually score kept them last week on January 25th. I score
Okay.
kept them, and they had a field issue where pretty much the game at the end early on. So they actually played the Bruins, and the game I believe was 34-30, 34-36 for the Bruins. Bruins just scored,
Right.
so the Bruins had a chance to go for two, and the game pretty much got cut. But
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
they actually have a chance to. There's 58 seconds left on the clock, so at one point in the season they're gonna have to meet up with the Bruins again, play 58 seconds, and if they get
Right.
they could have had the first win there. But
Okay. Okay.
that's
So
that.
to be continued, I guess.
Sorry.
Sorry, with that game is to be continued. I guess we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
exactly. Well, there's a minute
Okay.
left in that game, but just goes to show they're almost close to winning the first game.
Yeah.
So as the top, let's just say we're gonna go. Let's just go the teams that are undefeated right now. So you have Adil, Amps, Pimps.
Oh,
They're four and zero.
Idaho Ute Pimps. Yeah, they've
Yeah, so I think
great
they
this
have a
season. They've been around
Division
forever. Yeah.
Two team too as well. I think they have a
Yep, they
Division
do.
Two, three.
Yep.
You kind of spread the thing with that. You have
So,
Beer Belly Brit H,
Brigade.
and then you have barbecue chicken, and then Snowed It is also one of a
Yeah,
good
one of the
team.
top teams in there for sure.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, so for this division, it's Idaho Ida Pimps, and then Division Two is Idaho Ida Pimps.
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna say, yeah, yeah, it's
Out of
best to
those
get
out
out
of
there.
those four teams, who do you think has the best chance of winning a championship?
I want to say barbecue chicken. I mean, look at the receivers. I mean, they got Isaiah Allard, they got Tam, right? They got is it Xavier Couture, scorekeeper, tackle football player. His dad's been a scorekeeper forever. They got some weapon. Jackson Cooper, one of those young cats coming in from FPF Junior and all that. So I want to go with those guys. I think they have a lot of weapons on offense. Defensively, again, I mean, you have Isaiah back there. He has six.
Yeah,
He only has
I
one
think
sack, but he
watching
has six
that,
pass
that's
deflections, right? So
not
yeah, exactly,
quarterback's nightmare. Do you think
exactly.
Jimmy Lee is the guy to bring them to a championship? I know
I
he's a
don't
veteran.
know. I don't. I mean, he's played in the league for a long time. I mean, he's the type of dude. He'll make some big throws, but then he'll make some bad throws as well. Like he'll start falling in love with the deep ball too much, and when it's not there, he'll try to force it, and that's when you can get him to make mistakes. But there's other times where he looks like he's tossing the ball downfield, and it seems like he can't miss a shot. Like he can't miss a
Mhm.
pass. I don't know. I'm still gonna roll with you the whole eye to Pimps. I mean, that roster's deep. They're talented. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna roll with those guys in terms of who I think's gonna win it all.
Okay.
I actually saw them. They were playing Saturday at Con U. I was watching their game. I mean, obviously Marvin's there. So there's Simon Duchesne. So the Simon Duchesne from Jagerbomb. He's on his team now. Jonathan Lazistris, another veteran. James Nguyen. So I hadn't had a chance to see this guy. He has some size, man. He has some size, and he's fast. He's a good player both sides of the ball. So he made an impact. Obviously, Danik Colomb, who's playing now in Division 1, Division 2, all over the place. Brady as well, right? They got some
Yeah,
playmakers. So yeah. You the whole Isle of Pimp set. That's my pick to go all the way.
yeah, I would say the same. They have a very veteran team, and
Yeah,
they have enough firepower to score, and their defense is very solid. As you can see right now, they've scored 170, allowed 88 in 4 games,
exactly,
and they have a
exactly.
plus minus of 82. So I mean, it's pretty good. I also think Stoddix with
Yeah, Chris's team is still. They're obviously a good team. They're a veteran
I feel like
team.
that's also a team to be careful of, especially if you have.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not sure. I see James Drysdale
yeah. He's in the picture.
on this team as well, and I guess
Yeah,
Jean
yeah,
Slee. Maybe he's subbed because he has a game there. Maybe
yeah. That's a
James
good.
missed a
Yeah.
game. But again, if you have James on your
So
team as
that
a receiver, it's not the funnest thing to
they,
play against as a defense.
I'll tell you, they got
Uh,
Jim. They got this kid. I don't know if you met him yet, Emile Gregoire.
yeah, he's also yeah. I
Yeah,
played him on Sunday. Very fast
he's good.
receiver. I guess
Great
I believe he
receiver.
played with Champlain as well. They have
Yeah, so
the team.
him and Emerson. Him and Emerson is quarterback. Emerson's a quarterback for Champlain, and Emerson, Emile was a receiver. Emile was the only receiver this past season to go over 1,000 yards, hands like glue. He could run all the routes. I watched him on the field. Mo introduced him to Kevin Wyeth the other day, so Kevin was like right away, yeah, I'll use you. I think he actually subbed on one of Kevin's teams. I can't remember, maybe in
Okay,
court or
yeah,
something.
I
Yeah,
believe he
this kid
did.
can play.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure he did. Yeah,
yeah, he can play.
this is definitely a team to watch out for. I know they
Yeah,
lost one game. They lost versus
yeah,
Bruins, but I mean, it was a high scoring game. Maybe some guys were missing. I'm not completely sure, but one team to look out for.
yeah.
Let's go to
Bruins,
Division Two.
Bruins, good team. Yep. So looking at D2 right here.
Yeah. So
Uh,
D two is very interesting. A lot of well known teams. A lot of I'm in.
yep,
This is a division I play in. A lot of well
yep,
known
yep,
teams. A lot
yep.
of well known athletes. One thing
Oh
to
yeah,
look at Division Two. If you play Division Two, you pretty much play Division One. So you have a lot of guys that play
exactly,
Division One.
exactly.
So the talent is out of the world,
It's top
especially
notch.
for yeah, exactly. And winter again, as I said, in the winter season, you have pretty much all the university players that end up coming to play in
Hmm.
the winter season because it's their off
Yeah,
season, and you have a lot of guys that just have more time because it's the winter, right? You have so
exactly.
much time, you have more time to do more stuff.
Let's develop it.
So
That's it.
um,
Okay, because so since you played in the division, let me ask you. Let me ask you about this division. Um, you look at this division again, it's stacked from top to bottom. You said there's athletes everywhere, right? A lot of guys playing in Div 1. Uh, are the Dirty Birds a legit threat to win it all? I mean, they're sitting at 4-0 right now, number one defense in the entire division. Do you think they're a legit threat to win it all?
so I believe the Dirty Birds will go as far as Quaid brings them.
Mm-hmm.
So their roster is very stacked from the guys that have played, but
Yeah,
I feel like it's gonna be how far Quaid wants to bring them. As again, as Quaid's the
yeah,
quarterback, if Quaid
yeah,
decides
yeah.
to have a bad game, they're gonna crumble. Yes, their defense is gonna bail them out a lot. But I feel like if Quade's not on point when it comes into those when it comes into playoffs, because I believe they'll probably finish 8-2, maybe 9-1. I believe they're probably gonna drop one or two here and there. They have some pretty big matchups coming up.
Yeah,
Whenever you have KGP actually that they're playing this Sunday, which is also a veteran team that's back
yeah,
in Division Two. That's also a team that I would play with for Division One.
yeah,
But you have Vulture there. They're gonna end up playing too. So you have a lot of you have some good teams. Fins up as well. That I think Fins up is averaging 40 points per game or 50,
yeah,
like 40. I
yeah.
think there's 40 point games. So they're gonna have a lot of and the teams are going to test them. So I believe it's going to be a team that they're going to finish 8-2, 9-1, and then it's going to come down to Quaid, how Quaid plays in playoffs. If Quaid could play a perfect, not a perfect game, but pretty much a perfect game, they should roll. They should have a really good chance to win it all. But it's going to
Yeah.
be. I believe it's going to be on Quaid.
Okay. Looking at your team, right, the infantry right now, you guys are 1-2, right? You have a W over Easy W week one. Then you fell heartbreaker by 1 point to the Party Ballers on week two, and then you guys lost to Cushion Corinthians 13-32 to 19 this past Sunday. You have the Vultures coming up next Wednesday, so you have a week off between your next game. What do you guys have to do? Pardon me. What do you guys have to do to get back on track?
We just have to play more as a team. Right now, we dropped a horrible game against what was our week two? I want to say party ball. No, was it party ballers
Yeah,
we
Party
played?
Ballers. Yeah, 30,
Yeah, we
34,
we dropped
33.
we dropped a horrible game. We were up the whole way. We were in command. I think we were up by 13 with like 2 minutes left.
Wow.
They end
Okay.
up scoring, going. They end up scoring, getting an onside kick, getting an onside kick, then scoring again, and then going
Right,
for
right, right.
two and scoring again. So we lost that game by one. Very bad game for us at the end of the day.
Okay.
And then the Kush just kind of we kind of dropped that game as well. They played a very well game, especially in the second half. First half it was close. Second half I don't think we even scored. So for us, we just kind of have to get back to the drawing board and start to focus on more our offense than our defense as much, and try to win. Try to take a game. Yeah, try to take each game one by one. And
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, looking at here, you guys scored 19 points. You were down 20-19 at halftime, and then they outscored you 12-6. Pardon me, 12-0.
yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
you have you have AJ at quarterback, so that's always it's always an interesting thing. I mean, great athlete. He's a good quarterback. I mean, he's gotten better and better. I think each game. I remember watching him play quarterback a couple years ago. I was like, yeah, I don't know, but every game that I've watched him, he's gotten better and better, and he's being more decisive with the ball, throwing it better, getting more accurate. I mean, I think
Yeah,
he's the type of
yeah,
guy.
exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, AJ,
fair
no,
enough.
he's AJ's a very good quarterback. As
Yeah.
again, this is our first season playing with him as a whole team. So it's gonna be there's little things here and there that we kind of have to fix. But again, it's in the season. It's a long season. So as I said before, we're gonna have to take each game one game by one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Um,
Looking at it, sorry, just again, just going to the bottom, like you're just saying, going to the bottom division. Just wanted to ask you about these teams. Like, no regard, 0-3, Mangoose 0-4, ECW 0-3. Do you see these teams? Well, obviously, KGP hasn't played a game yet, but do you see those bottom three teams again? No regard, Mangoose, and ECW. Do you see them getting off the schneid? Obviously, I don't think they're going to go winless, but where do you think these guys can get a W, or how can they get a W?
so I'm surprised. Actually, I'm kind of surprised and I'm not surprised on the teams that they're all 0-3, 0-4, and 3. But the division is super hard. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
There's so much
yeah, yeah,
talent, but I feel like they everyone, especially it's actually crazy because No Regard 0-3, Mangoose 0-4, ECW 0-3, all veteran teams. No Regard, they do have I believe it's I want to say his name Miles Gibbon as
yeah,
a Q
yeah, yeah.
quarterback.
Here's a quarterback. Yeah.
He's not. I played co-ed with him. I played co-ed with him. Sorry, one second. I played co-ed with him. Very,
Yeah.
very, very good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing arm. But again, when you bring these quarterbacks that are not used to playing flag football as much, when they actually end up playing tackle football, it's a completely different story.
Hundred
But
percent.
I believe they all should get a win here and there. Like Division Two is open. It's open. It just takes less mistakes. Like for no regard, they scored 20 points, 38 points, 31 points. So I mean, they're scoring their points. Their defenses, they've allowed 31, 40, and 40.
Yeah,
So not much defense, but again, it's a lot of guys that it seems like it takes a while to kind of get into the rhythm and start.
yeah.
And if you don't
It's
play with a
true.
lot of guys
It's
as
true.
much, like it takes time sometimes to start things going. And that's
Yeah,
like for no regard for ECW2. It's kind of weird that they're 0-3 as well because this is a veteran team. They've been playing
yeah.
with each other for a while as well, but it's Division 2. Talent is everywhere, right? Like you can't have
Exactly.
bad
Exactly.
games. If you have a bad game, the other team's gonna have a good game, right? So
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't there when they played us ECW when they played Infantry. I wasn't there when they played, but mostly it was a very close game. 30-36. Then they lost 36-53, and then they lost versus Finns up 50-47. So it seems like they're scoring points, and just again, if you're going to score 40 47, the other scoring 50, I mean you're going to have to get some stops there. They allowed
Yeah.
53, 50, and 36. So again, if they have to cut down on the points scored against, and then they could turn their whole season around. And then I believe the last team that's going to win,
Mangoose.
Mangoose. Yeah, again, a
Yeah.
veteran team, a lot of talent wise,
Yeah. Yeah.
all around. But again, uh, there's talent. Every team is talented,
Every
right?
team
So
exactly is gonna say that. Exactly.
so
Exactly.
it's talent. Talent only can bring you so far, especially in Division 2. As I was saying before, it's probably one of the hardest divisions to play in, especially during the
Yeah.
winter season. So they're not scoring that many points. They scored 76 points in 4 games and allowed
Yeah.
133. So they do have to start getting their point. They're gonna have to start scoring more points. This team, I believe, this team was more a defensive team. They don't look like that as much of scoring 12 points week one,
Yeah. Yeah.
19
Yeah.
week two, then 13 week three, and then they scored 32 versus Silent Tipper's team. So I mean, that's pretty much better, but they're gonna have to do way better if they're gonna want to win a game.
Yeah. I mean, if you have talent, like you said, especially as the Mangoose, they added a couple guys from my team, my buddy Alex Blay and Hakeem Casby Filiatro, especially Hakeem, like really great on defense. Looking at it right here, I believe he leads the team in INTs, if I'm not mistaken. It was tied. Well, sorry, he leads the team in tackles, tied for INTs with one. Yeah, Phil Ferron. They have some talent on this team. Oliver Surrey, Thomas Couture, obviously. Like, they're not lacking talent. They just got to get their act together offensively because, like I said, they struggle. They scored 12, 19, and 13. That's not going to get it done, especially in Division 2.
Yeah.
One thing, sorry?
Oh, so I said yeah, exactly.
One team I wanted to look at quickly from jump to Division One. One stop. This is a team. So I said earlier, I called some games for McGill, and so a lot of these guys I know, like Janai, Copeland Lewis, Ryan McNally, two studs. Former McGill player Charles Cassette is on that team. Quarterback, I think one of the quarterbacks is really climbing the rankings, and no matter what division it is, Mike Caparelli is the starting
Yeah, I believe
quarterback
he.
over
I
there.
think he played for Lennoxville back in
Okay,
Egypt.
okay. Well, there you go, right? So he has some experience. He's a great quarterback. AJ Zapatelli, one of the receivers. Luca Lechese, the snapper, rusher. They also have a couple of guys but Mathis Pilon, so he played outside linebacker this year at McGill. He's a really good player. He's on
You
the
have
team as
also
well for the
Sam
Trudell.
Mastrub
Yeah,
as
Sam
well.
Mashub. He hasn't played yet, but I was going to say, yeah,
Yeah,
Sam
I think
Mashub.
he's on
Yeah,
vacation, but he's
right.
also on this roster. That's
He's
also
going to be a weapon, exactly, exactly.
yeah,
So that's a team I think they could go all the way and would be my dark horse to win it all for
yeah,
Div Two.
yeah. They're a very scary team. As again, my problem with them is more experience.
Yeah. Mhm.
When you start, especially in Division 2, when you get into the playoffs, sometimes veteran experience beats out non-experience. Like
Yeah.
when it comes to time management and just kind of, especially how the rules change now. With FPF, there's so many rule changes right now. We don't do the 5 plays anymore, right? So it's pro
Exactly.
clock.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
there's a lot of that that can come to that could take part in playoffs. Like that literally could change you from winning a playoff game and losing a playoff game. But
Exactly,
definitely,
exactly.
that's definitely one team to be that's definitely one team to look out for, because if you take them lightly, they will give you the work.
Yeah,
They'll
100%,
probably
100%.
they'll probably also what last one also one thing it's pretty crazy is that you see KGP is actually playing 4 games in two
Yeah,
days. So
yeah,
they
yeah,
play
yeah.
they're going to be playing 4 games in 2 games. So they're actually going to technically when 4 games are played, they're going to have half their season already done by Sunday.
Exactly, exactly.
So we'll go to Division One.
So actually, you know what? So I'm gonna stop things here because I actually have to go on scorekeeping. So what we're gonna do? So this is gonna be part one of our first episode of FPF First and Goal. We're going to be doing part two later this week. So we're going to be covering Division One. We got 5v5, so we haven't forgotten that. We have, of course, women's and we have co-ed. So again, this is part one. We also want to go over
Okay.
some of the rules because a lot of rule changes this year in FPF. We're going to get to that in our second episode. So again, this is part one. So we did Division 6B, 6A, 5B, 5A, we did divisions four, yeah, 4B, 4A, 3 and 2. So it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. We covered in almost like an hour and a half. So we're gonna come back and again, like I said, we're gonna do Division One for sure. When we get the 5v5, all three of those. We're gonna get the women's, and for sure we're gonna get the co-ed as well. So this has been the first episode of FPF, First and Goal, the new podcast here at Five Plus Football. I'm Brent. He's Quasi. Any final words?
No, not it. If anyone if anyone has any questions to ask us, feel free. Me and Brent are always around. We're both scorekeeping. If you guys feel like there's something we're missing or something that we can add on, we're open to ideas. We want this podcast to be something new, something that everyone likes to enjoy, and something
Exactly.
just for you guys to just watch and enjoy watching it. So don't be shy and ask us as many questions if you guys want.
All right. And thank you guys for tuning in. It's been over an hour and 45 minutes. So hopefully you enjoyed it. And again, we'll be back with part two of our FPF breakdown. So see you next time.